A crack of thunder seamlessly morphs into the deafening roar of a 22,500-seat stadium crowd. Cue a dark, driving orchestral superhero score narrator.
In a world divided by rivalries, where legends are forged in 90 minutes of high-stakes chaos, and every pitch is a battleground.
Sound effect! Rapid paper flipping like comic book pages spinning, followed by the heavy, echoing boom, boom, boom of a soccer ball striking the crossbar. Narrator.
Titan after Titan, tactical masterminds plotting global domination from the sidelines, while heroes and villains clash beneath the blinding stadium lights, boots as armor, the crest as a symbol. Victory is the only option.
Sound effect. Synthesizer rise or dramatic, bright brass crescendo. Narrator.
No scripts, no mercy, just raw, unfiltered drama where a single moment can rewrite history or crush a franchise into dust.
Massive cinematic bass drop. Boom. Narrator.
Lace up your boots, adjust your super capes. Welcome to Showdown.
The dramatic score transitions seamlessly into your upbeat, high-energy podcast theme music.
Welcome to Steel City Showdown, where we take nothing literally serious, even our own podcast, or our lives, or friendship, or whatever.
Nope. Can't. That was, I don't, did you guys hear, that was a really good intro. I think these guys should be, voiceover actors or something. That was really good. I wonder who those guys were that we hired to do this. That was, oh my gosh, that was intense.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Woo.
Oh, man.
So if you guys don't know and you live under a rock and you literally did not watch this game was Superhero Night. So there was all really cool superhero themes. It was just, honestly, it was kind of fun. If you're a nerd, especially like Steve and I, it was just kind of fun. And, it's really cool. I kind of dig theme nights. A lot of people do. And if you don't, that's okay. If it's not your jam, it's not your jam. I know the wifey in particular is pretty excited about the Harry Potter one. Mm-hmm. But that is a different night. So, Steve, I have to ask you. Oh, yeah, go ahead, buddy.
No, I was going to say, I think that's the thing that soccer or football is able to do differently than, say, baseball for giveaways, where the Cardinals have 82 games a year. And not all of those are theme nights. Most of them are just random bobbleheads or things. They just give it away. They have some theme nights, but what I've noticed is, and I'm glad City's getting into it this year, because there's always been they'll give away a notebook, giveaway thing. It's just some random giveaway. But I noticed that a lot of teams in MLS, every home game is a theme. We went to our first away game I went to was in Chicago. And that's the first time I experienced theme nights for MLS. And it was a hockey theme night and they gave away hockey jerseys. And it was dope. And then they do this every year is they'd have multiple theme nights. And I am so glad this city is doing that instead of just here's a pencil pouch. Here's a thing. It really ties in a whole thematic theme. And by the way, they're not stupid. They're able to sell merchandise. The roughneck scarf they're selling with Spider-Man on it. And it's not just it's not the Spider-Man, the dramatic Spider-Man. It's not silly. It's the kid Spider-Man. I love that. I love that because it gets the kids excited. And that's super cool. I dig that. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I really dig theme nights, and this is really neat.
So overall, the game, though, as much as we love the superheroes winning, we ended up drawing this game. Do you feel like this was a win, or was this kind of the Avengers where they lost and it was the snap?
Yeah, I do. I think it's almost like Spider-Man No Way Home, where he has to like there is no real resolution. It just kind of it has to end a certain way. And I feel like this is one of those games where it's like it doesn't feel good. Like we're on this huge we're on now an official MLS 8-game unbeaten streak, and we really wanted that win. But we didn't get it. But we didn't lose. And I think that's so cool. Like Ted Lasso said, like you either win or you lose. Wait, you can tie. Like we'll take that point. Against a team ahead of us on the table. Like that's one thing that we've struggled with the beginning of the season was can you do well against the teams above you on the table? And we did. We passed that test this week.
And remind me, Steve, we started today in 7th, right? On the table. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're currently still in 7th. Now, the only thing is I noticed this is Seattle is as we're recording right now, Seattle is still playing their game and they're currently drawing. Now, they also have a game in hand.
Yep. They were actually, they were drawing when you and I sat down to record. So the fact that they're still that way against Portland, that's a pretty good sign for us. And I do think that one of the other teams right below us also already finished and they drew. So we can't go any lower than I think 8th right now. So
yeah, I think everybody currently as it stands, every game, I think everybody was drawing here. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was Minnesota. Minnesota already finished their game. So we're good unless of course Seattle winds up winning, which whatever. We can't drop below the playoff line tonight, which is so cool.
Yeah. So, Steve, we were talking about superheroes, and I have to digress for a second. We all grew up with superheroes, and most of us, at least the nerds, right? Like, if you guys are like way cooler than us, then maybe you have no clue what we're talking about, right? But what was your favorite superhero growing up?
Man, so I was lucky. I was able to go to a comic book store about once a week and buy comics. And I loved the X-Men. I loved Spider-Man, but the one I kept coming back to was Superman. And the reason was Superman was not Republican. He wasn't Democrat. He was about America. It wasn't about this. He was about just truth and justice. And I loved reading the Superman comic books every week. And the reason why I'm glad we're talking about this is Superman always won. And I remember when I picked up a comic, at the end of the comic, it was The Death of Superman. It's the next one coming out. And it was like a thick anthology. And I saved up like $30 to buy this thing. I was like, there's no way Superman's dying. I'm 7th grade. I'm like, there's no way he's dying. Okay, whatever. And I'm flipping through that book. And I think I sat down. I don't think I moved for like 4 hours. And spoiler, I guess, right? It's a 30-year-old comic at this point, but Superman was fighting Doomsday, and it was a monster created specifically to kill Superman. Had all the Superman's strongest aspects. Superman and Doomsday fought this entire book, and I'm like, this is going to happen. And eventually, Superman dies. Superman dies because he just runs out of energy. Doomsday can't kill him. There's no way Doomsday can kill him, but Superman also can't kill Doomsday, and they just exhaust each other. And I remember setting this book down and just weeping. I just wept because Superman died. And they're like, stay tuned for the following adventure. I was like, what's left in life? And then like, they did a really cool thing where they brought Superman back, but they brought him back in four different entities that eventually formed back into one for Superman. It took like a whole calendar year for a Superman to come back. And that was just so dope. And that was my childhood. And I found that book. And like, I'm never going to let that go. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. It's insane. So for me, it was Superman only because like, I was kind of like a really weird kid. And like, I didn't really have it still is. I really didn't have a lot of I didn't have a good father figure. I didn't really have a lot of strong presence in my life. And like, Superman was it. And Superman was dope. So that was mine. What about yours?
Okay. So it feels like I'm stealing here, but as a kid, one of my favorite probably was Superman, followed by Wolverine. Now, I didn't read comics because I guess my parents just never brought me there, and I just really never focused on that. I was more of like watching, cartoons and movies, like old movies and stuff like that. And to be honest, I'm just going to be honest. I watched Smallville like crazy and Supernatural. Like I love the CW. What was it before CW? Just WB, right? I love those shows. Now, not to say it, I do love a lot of those shows. I did like Angel and Gilmore Girls. They had amazing, by the way, but that's not a superhero. But anyways, that's basically my exposure. And I loved exactly what you said about Superman. He stood for truth and justice, and he was just pure, you know?
Yeah.
And I just love that fact. Now, as an adult, I find that he's one of the more boring superheroes. I like the more flawed superheroes, to be honest. The more flawed, the better. And actually, that brings us to our first game. We were kind of deciding some games that would be comic theme, and our first one is going to be Hammer Time.
So why Hammer Time?
We were talking about this, right? So at the very beginning, we were like, okay, we want to kind of flavor and have a little bit of comic book, and we can't remember exactly what movie it was, which of the current MCU movies where they were trying to lift the hammer. And we were like, okay, so who on City would be the most worthy, second most worthy, and probably someone who just barely could maybe flinch or like shake the hammer, but not actually lift it up. Right, Steve? So like, who do you think would be like Thor level worthy of the hammer? Like the person that you can count on that is just always there no matter what.
Right. I would say my tip top person on our team. So I think if we're going to rank this, I think we got to go like 3 Mjolnirs. I think for me, it's Leuven. I think Leuven could most certainly be that guy for me. I think it's Leuven.
Why?
He's just like, we didn't see it like so much tonight. He had a good shot, but like he's been here from the beginning. I think that he kind of resembles everything that this team has tried to put out. He had the resilience from losing his wife and coming back. He was injured and came back. Also, he's transformed his appearance multiple times. I think that's a big thing for superheroes too. They don't always stay exactly the same. He'll be shaven Leuven. He'll be kind of like a caked up Leuven. He'll be kind of rough Leuven. You know, he's kind of got that Wolverine, Hugh Jackman Wolverine aesthetic where he'll transform over time, and he's always there. So for me, he kind of resembles all those aspects that we want to see from a superhero, if you will. Who's your top guy?
Okay, so I was torn between him and Hartle, so I think I'm just going to agree with you and say that Leuven was our 3 hammers, if you will, just for the pure fact that he just seems like he's so emotionally stable. So like whether they're winning, whether they're losing, he seems like he's always that stable player that you can always count on, you know? He doesn't lose his cool. He's not like fighting with other players. You know what I mean? Like he's not throwing himself on the pitch. You know what I'm trying to say? Like he's just, he's like Mr. Dependable in that sense. And I really like when you listen to him, like in press conferences or just like interviews, you could just tell this guy has like a heart of gold.
So moving down from the 3, let's go to like 2 Mjolnirs. And I just looked it up. So in game, Captain America was able to actually pick up and yield Mjolnir because he had all the attributes and all that. And like he had to like really fight to get it up, but then he was able to, and then he was able to yield it. And for me, the guy that shows that fight for City and that ability to kind of pick up after some transgressions is Hartle. For me, it's Marcel. Like Marcel will be that number 2 for me.
Agreed.
Where it's like, look at just tonight. Like he saw that we were struggling, and I joked around with you. Like as soon as RSL scored that goal, pop up, and he popped right up like he was being shot out of a can, and immediately came in and showed that grit. And like for me, he'd be that number 2 guy, just because he works so hard at being. He's not our number 9. You know, we may discuss like possibility of like a false 9, but he's not like the main striker. But he runs around like one that is. He definitely prepares. So for me, he'd be that number 2. Who's you?
I think today's game actually just kind of proved his worth and worthiness, is because this was the first game that he was eligible to play that he didn't actually start, that he came in as a sub first time. And what could you tell? The first 65 minutes, yeah, we actually had, like, it was actually a really good game in the midfield. We owned that midfield. But once we got to that magical box, we just died. And we just never could do anything with it, right? The second Hartle came in, you could tell that, I think they said in 12 minutes, we had 7 corners.
Yeah.
That's once Hartle came in, right?
Yep.
We had some shots on goal once he came in. Well, him and Matan both, but we're talking about Hartle right now. But it was definitely when he came in, you could just tell he was definitely worthy of the football, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh my God. The energy. I like imagine if we had someone like that as like a super sub all the time, like to just come in at the 50th minute and just punch a hole in the wall. I mean, that's clearly Ostrak, but like someone with like Hartle's skills at all the time, like that's just insane.
Okay. So who would be your one hammer?
Okay, so we have to think about this. So if 3 is able to just drag the thing, yield it all the time, I wish I had my hammer. Actually, quick little side quest. My son, when he was like, he's 18 now, when he was in kindergarten or first grade, he wanted to be Thor for Halloween. And we make our own costumes as much as we can. And like, I was like, how am I going to make Mjolnir? I can't give my kindergarten son a ball peen hammer. I can't get run. So what I did was I found an old handle, broom handle like this. I use it in my weight room, and an old shoebox. And I cut that broom handle down and I secured it to the shoebox, and I painted the shoebox and the handle gray and silver. I painted it over like 4 or 5 times. And by the time I was done, it looked like a comically large hammer. It looked like a Mario hammer. And he carried that thing. I think I saved that hammer for years. It was such a cool relic. And like okay. So we look at who's able to wield the hammer. So 3, pick it up and wield it do what you want. 2, you have to work on it. For me, and you may be different, for me, the 1 is the try hard. The 1 is the person that's really performative, that really is pretending they can pick it up and no big deal. Kind of like Ant-Man, yeah, I'll go do it, man. You just can't move it. We've been bragging on this guy. For me, it's Betcher. Betcher is my 1. Like, he's going to try to pick it up. He's going to try to work hard. He's going to try to do it. He just can't. He just can't. Yeah, like, that ain't you, bud. Stop trying to be something you ain't. So, like, for me, it's Betcher for the 2026 season for my evidence. I submit Exhibit A. What about you?
Yeah, if we're gonna go where the player that tries to pick it up but can't even budget, but it has a flashy entrance, and he's like, okay, I got this, and he's like pulling up and he goes pull, and then it comically falls forward. Yeah, of course it's gonna be Betcher. I'm not
before I interjected. Who would you have thought though? And why?
Well, if we're going to go based off that criteria, then I would say definitely Betcher. Now, if we were talking about like the person that might have been able to lift it up like a millimeter, then I just don't think this guy gets enough love, and I would have to say Baumgartel, because I feel like he's been so dependable as that center back. I don't want to say Berkey, just because there's sometimes where there's been a few times this season where I feel like he misplayed some things. But Baumgartel just seems like he's on. Like, I feel like he's that Mr. Reliable that has that little bit of worthiness, but just doesn't get that love. So,
you know what? Using your criteria, I've got a dark horse here that might blow your mind. For me, if we're going to go that route, like it's a person that can kind of sort of pick it up, and he's working hard, but he's got that little formative, but you can see it's there. For me, it's Valum. Because we've seen his improvement.
No, mute. What are you? No, stop.
Look at tonight. Look at the last 2 games. He hasn't been awful. He's been improving. Like, he had some pretty good passes tonight, and he had a shot on goal. Like, yep. But okay, I think cut. We're doing a movie. Cut. Don't have to worry about that.
Oh man,
you know what, Conrad? You and me, secretly, we're buds. It's fine. This guy, don't worry about this guy. Look at me.
Is it just because he listens to the podcast that you're trying to butter him up?
Yeah. Listen. He's a number 1 city. He listens all the time. He comments. He leaves his little likes. The super chat. Conrad, you mean we're cool. I got you, bud. All right. And we're back. So AJ also thinks that Valum is our 1, so that's great. Let's move on to the next thing here. All right.
Man.
So our next game. So we're gonna step away a little bit from the superhero stuff, only because at some point Clark Kent's got to go to work. You know, he's got to put his suit on. He's got to look professional. Peter Parker goes and does the photography thing. He's got to do his thing, right? We all got to go to work. Well, guess what, champs? It's the month of August. And unless you are a school district that goes to school after Labor Day, August is the month of school. And as an educator myself, AJ was an educator. He still is an educator. You're still an educator. Give that to you. All right. So
technically, yes.
we have to be thinking about school. And part of school is grades. Definitely part of being a teacher, I have to give grades. So we're going to kind of celebrate the start of school. All you little scamps listening, we dig you. Thank you for being here with us. You know, tell mom and dad, turn the volume up. We're going to do some grades. So what we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. Sometimes what we like to do is we'll just go, who's an A, who's a B, who's a C, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to do that. We are going to give each other topics, and we're going to assign a grade. And some of these may have the same grade, but you know, we're that cool teacher that goes out in the back and kind of lets kids out the back door. We're that cool sub that it's kind of cool. So, all right, I'll let you go first. Who's your first topic for the match?
So we're talking about this match specifically. Okay. Now,
just this match.
The first one is going to be very specifically Berkey's actual defense. I don't care about ball distribution or anything about that, but I'm talking about his actual D.
We're going to give his D a B. I'm going to give his
a B?
Yeah, I'm going to give his defense. Gotta watch this. Gotta make sure we don't, any people coming after us. All right. I'm going to give his defense a B. He had, like you said, that before we recorded the play in which they scored their goal. It wasn't great. But you look at some of those. He made the Spider-Man jump today. He did stuff like. So I'm gonna give him we didn't lose the game, so I'm gonna give him a B, only because didn't ruin it for us. So what about you?
I think that's pretty fair. I was thinking probably about a B- or a B+ rather, because literally this is going to be on his forever highlight reel, that save that he had, because it looked flashy. Like the kick was amazing, right? It was that kind of scissor / bicycle kick.
Yes.
And how far he had to jump up and to the side. So lateral and height movement was just insane. And making it with his, I think it was with his right paw. That was amazing.
Right, he almost punched it too. He didn't just touch it. Like he actually forced it out. Like that was nuts.
That's true. And he directed away from goal. That was amazing. That's something that's going to be on highlight reels for definitely this season and for his personal career. But at the same time, when the goal happened, I understand, like you had brought this up pre-video, is when that little back heel pass threw everybody off. Like that was a beautiful pass by the other team, unfortunately. But the problem is Berkey came out. I'm not sure what he was doing. I know the defender looked like the defender got in his way, but when I look back and actually watched it, Berkey was there, then the defender went into him. So Berkey already made the move. It looked like he just kind of came out of goal to try to intercept the ball, but he just didn't get there. I just felt like that was the wrong thing to do there. So I do take some points away from him, but when he has a save like that, this easily could have been a 2-1 game. So B+ for me.
You know what? When you only face 3 shots on target and you only save 2 of them, it is kind of hard to get a B, but you know what? We're very easy teachers. So we're going to give this guy a B. Now, how about the fact that this game did end in a draw? What do you give that? What grade do you give the fact that this game ended in a draw? What grade would you give that fact of the game?
I honestly, probably a C. Just honestly, quickly, easily. You still got a point, right? Like you always have to strive to get points, but we learned last year you can't just live off of draws. And I love the fact that the players after the game, they were upset. They were upset that this was a draw, right? I don't know if you saw that. They were kind of like, I think Valum hit the pitch with his hands like this, like slamming it down. That tells me even they probably would give this a C. Like this was almost a loss in their mind. What about you?
I mean, I think I'll go a C minus or even a D because like, yeah, we didn't lose, but I do think that the fact that we drew from a losing position. I think that's the big difference. I think that's the difference from this team is so many of our draws have been, and it's probably winds up being the average for teams. I bet it's wound up being the average, but the fact that we didn't lose the lead, lose the wind, if you will, for me, that's a big thing. So I think I talked myself into a C. The team gave a good oral presentation, and they convinced me that, yeah, it's a C. I'll give the draw a C. We would have preferred a win, but the fact that we didn't lose, that's big. Hottest team in the league, probably, I think people would say.
Okay, so the next one I have for you then, and I got like maybe this one, maybe another one after this. So the subs. I think it was, the 65th-ish minute, something like that, when Hartle and Matan, who is technically unproven because he hasn't touched the pitch yet, but he brought him in at a very crucial point, which was the 65th minute. So what do you think? What would you grade that sub decision?
For me, that's an A+. I'm gonna give it like the Christmas Story where Rafi got the grade from. He had the daydream and he got the grade from the teacher. A++++++++++. The fact that DeMay responded to that goal, like you could sense urgency. It wasn't like we've seen in the past where a coach they scored and it's just like yeah, so it's very interesting. It's like if this was a comic book, DeMay would have did the action scene, run over and hit the big red button as hard as he could. He would have done like the Naruto run, like this, a new run, like alarms been going off, and again, like seeing Hartle jump up out of his seat as fast as he could, and he almost dragged Matan with him, and they're like, "We're going in, we're saving this." Like they couldn't get out there fast enough. For me, that's a huge, huge shift from what I've seen in the past. So I'm giving that A+, all the pluses. For me, that was easy. What about you? What kind of grade would you give that? Because I think that's a good one.
Dude, honestly, I can't say anything more than what you just said. It's definitely A+. I mean, it was super effective. I mean, obviously, Hartle is like a cheat code to some extent. Like, dude, just imagine if you could clone him. Like, if we were some like super villain and we cloned this guy and we had like 10 of these guys, holy crap.
That'd be so rad. That'd be so rad. All right.
Okay. What do you got?
You know what? You went with the subs. Let's go with the starting lineup. What grade would you give that starting lineup?
Well, I'm going to assume that Hartel was not for some reason match fit, or he was a little bit ill or something like that, right? Like you literally just could not pick him. I would say that this lineup was about the best we got. I hate to say it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm excited about it, but I would have to say A, just because what else are you going to put out there?
I would go A- to B, only because Hartle was on the bench. But the fact that we had Matan available, for me, as I'm going starting lineup. But when we look at the starting 11, the bench is down there, and the fact that they made him available and Oshak was there, Oshak was available, like. Yeah, you're right. This is basically the best team we can put together right now. But like, imagine like after this next week off, when hopefully we can also have Hulsa out there as well, at least on the bench, like available. Like we're going to see like this team construction. So like for me, the lineup was we'll say a B.
Yeah. So I got one last one before our next game here, and I think you're going to like this one. So let's grade Matan.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the FOP Mob score, and it's like 6-7, I think, or like 6-8 or something like that. But just on the eye test, some of those passes he was making was really impressive. So the fact that we only saw him for 20 minutes, the fact that he was able to get out there and actually be impactful. As soon as he got on the field, he was running. I saw at one point, like, I think it was him and Oshak were hawking down a ball from a RSL player, and like one of them made a good tackle to stop it. It was just insane. But like for me, just because we didn't see too much of him, I'm just going to say a B. Only because like he made an impact. He was there, and he done good. The kid done good. I'm going to give him a B. He ain't going to get away from him. We're going to get a B.
Okay. Well, I was going to say probably a B to B plus, and the reason why is we saw his impact. I love the fact that he can actually dribble and advance the ball against pressure, which not a lot of our players can do. His passing was great. I liked some of the shots he took. Now, the one thing I do want to go on record for is I think here in a couple games, we're going to be talking about how he might be a little too shot happy. I just have a feeling how quickly he took some of these shots that I hope he's just not a little too trigger happy. Now, I could be totally wrong. Maybe it was just the natural flow of the game. Maybe he was excited because it was his debut. But I do think there's a chance he's going to be trigger happy. So that's why I can't give him an A, just because I have that feeling.
Yeah, we haven't seen that kind of energy out of a player. I don't know when, like, but it was almost like launching like. If you've ever seen videos of people release like animal control people releasing like raccoons back into the wild, like just boom, like just gone. As soon as the gates open, boom, it's gone. Like that's how he came out. And I wonder if there wasn't because of the urgency of the fact that we just went down. And you're right, it's his first time being on the pitch with all the fans there. And it was exciting, but we got to control that little honey badger a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I got one last before we move on.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, this is the best one. So the show opened with those really cool voiceover guys that had a really cool dramatic. We gotta find those guys, like really cool dramatic entrance. Tonight was superhero night, and the environment in the stadium, it was dark and it was rainy and it was kind of intense. So what grade would you give the rain for tonight?
Well, for dramatic effect, I would say like if this was like acting class, I would say like I would have to say A plus, definitely.
Good job, Rain. Yep, I thought that was fun. All right, so we got time for a few more things. So if you guys remember last week, we kind of named animals at the zoo, and we try to match a player to that animal. What we're going to do, since it's superhero, is we're going to kind of flip that. We're going to describe a player, and then the other host is going to match a superhero based on this. So what we're going to be looking at are kind of like the 6 main characters from what we know as the MCU. And then also we're going to look at kind of like the ones that maybe people don't think too much about. So think about those mainstays from the Avengers. And then we're going to look at some of the other superheroes that are in the MCU specifically, because it was Marvel night. It wasn't DCU, it was Marvel. And we're going to kind of discuss those. So I will let you, sir, go first.
Okay, so our first player, and I think this should be a relatively easy one. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is Hartle. Hartle, I would argue, is our leader, especially on the offensive front. I know Berkey has the cap and band, but I would have to say Hartle seems like he's leading the majority of the action on the field. He's someone who's dependable, who's very talented, who can definitely provide a strong offense and occasionally can provide a defense. So with Hartle, who would you associate him with? Like, what character is he?
So, man, let's see. So I'm looking at all of ours. The way you describe it is going to be like the easiest one. So let's see. You know what? I'm going to go Hawkeye on this one. So here's a description that we have for Hawkeye: is pinpoint precision, cool-headed workhorse, relies on skill over superpowers. Now remember, so Hawkeye's not he's not a soup. He is a regular person that is just an insane person with the arrows, with bow and arrows. So like he can do all kinds of magic with that. So for me it's Hawkeye. Who were you thinking?
Oh, there's only one person that I think he could be, and that's Captain America. The ultimate leader, tactical discipline, relentless work ethic, and leads by example. I can't think of any other player that I'd put for Captain America.
Well,
maybe you could
there's
argue.
one in the
Maybe.
there's one in the middle.
I don't know.
Guy number 8. I mean, yeah, whatever. We don't have to get too. All right, so we got Hartle out of the way. Very good. So we've got either Hawkeye or Cap. Very good. All right, I'm gonna go another low hanging fruit. We're gonna go Edu Leuven. So here's how Edu Leuven can be described. He has excellent passing range. He's comfortable playing short combinations or switching play with long, accurate diagonal balls. He's our set piece specialist, which I would agree. One of his standout traits, he delivers dangerous corners and free kicks. He has excellent vision with his passing. We've marked those. He can just the way he can pass. And for me, his powerful shooting, capable of scoring from a distance, and his physical presence. He's strong enough to shield the ball and compete in midfield duels. So which superhero would you say that he kind of matches?
I would have to actually say Natasha Romanoff, so Black Widow. So our descriptions that we have before this is high agility, which I feel like he does have some pretty good moves. Stealthy in the sense that he can catch defenders off guard. Ruthless efficiency, and he exploits every weakness.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I probably would have gone there as well. Yeah. I think that's good. Who you got?
Okay. So I think the obvious next one is Berkey. Which person would be Berkey? So Berkey's the guy who maybe is not necessarily emotionally level-headed, so he gets angry a lot. He's somebody who seems like he can climb walls and just make these super acrobatic saves. He's somebody who can really kind of start the team off on the right foot, aka ball distribution. What superhero do you think that would fit the most?
All of those are really cool things, but like the only way I ever really discuss for me, Berkey, is Spider-Man. It's just the way he can get up. So I look at our descriptions. It's youthful energy, elite reflexes. That's it right there. Eager to impress, boundless enthusiasm. So like he definitely wants to do well. And that enthusiasm, when we get angry Berkey, it's almost like he's got a little bit of the big green guy coming out of him. But I don't know how is there another, I don't know, there probably is, but like for me, he's Spider-Man all around. Do you have one? Who you think he might have been?
No, I mean, out of all the Marvel characters, I have to pick Spider-Man because who else is going to make those kind of, like, look at the Save Today.
Yeah.
That was like, literally, you could have like put a CGI Spider-Man and you would literally think that we were watching the movie that just got released, yesterday?
Yep. Which, by the way,
Absolutely.
I took a couple of my kids to go see it. It's utterly fabulous. It's an utterly fabulous movie, guys. It's perfect. It's good. All right. The next one that we're going to do is we're going right down the line of obvious ones. Obvious. And of course, we're going to talk about Chris Durkin next. So let's see. So he's aggressive in tackles and willing to challenge for every 50-50 ball. With all that he's got we've picked up his 8th yellow tonight. So he reads passing lanes well, and he's really good at getting in the way for defensive positioning. He's very physical. He's strong shoulder to shoulder. He's got excellent leadership and communication, and he's got tactical disciplines. So,
oh man, I'm going to struggle with this one because I'm kind of torn between two different ones here, right? So there's Tony Stark, just because Tony Stark is not afraid to lean into somebody. And if Tony Stark was a football player, he would definitely be getting yellows more so than anybody else, right?
Yeah.
No. And he's definitely a high risk playmaker. I could see that, right? The other one I'm kind of torn between is also Scarlet Witch, because she is very emotionally, how can I put it, sometimes unsettled. Like she gets angry real quick. She can flip on a switch. So I'm kind of torn between those two. I don't know. Who are you thinking?
So you're right, because he is such a mental person. I'm looking at vision, cold logic, flawless positioning. He's always there. And calm under extreme pressure. I think his ability to understand when to make those moves and take those yellows can be considered calm under extreme pressure. But I think we almost have to go for the Hulk. just because he's out there.
Oh,
He's
I was just about to ask
running
you.
around. Yeah.
Definitely not the Bruce Banner portion, but like the Hulk itself. Yeah, because
Unstoppable,
he
physical, destructive force. Yes.
I love how the MCU describes or shows a Hulk. He's just like constantly like running into buildings, like things are flying everywhere. He's just destroying everything.
Just doesn't even stop.
Okay.
Doesn't slow down. Yep.
Okay. So Hulk it is. Okay. Okay. All right. Who do we have left here? Okay. So we just said Durkin. Okay. How about for another one is Baumgartel?
Mm-hmm.
Who would you put as Baumgartel?
Well, how would you describe Mr. Baumgartel?
Yeah. Good point. So Baumgartel is somebody who I would say that under a lot of pressure doesn't seem like he cracks. He's always there. He's kind of always got your back. He's kind of like your second to last person standing. So the person that no matter if everybody else fails, that's like one of the people you can count on.
Mm-hmm. You know, about Doctor Strange? Arrogant intellectual, master of tempo, always 3 steps ahead.
I think that's a reasonable one. The other one I was kind of thinking about too is Vision. Flawless positioning.
Sure, yeah.
Calm under extreme pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of quiet too. Like Vision isn't like always up front. Like he's just kind of quiet. He's there when you need him, and then he shows up.
Yeah. And then he's effective. All right, let's do one more. How about
let's do it.
Thomas Totland? So we've got his engine and mobility. His biggest trait is his ability to run. He covers the entire field. He's got great attacking instincts. He's comfortable advancing the ball up. He can beat pressure with movement. And how about his versatility? His experience as a right back and right midfielder, which fits the modern wingback. So, decision making. So, what does that sound like? One of our superheroes. Decision making, precision.
Oh man, this is tough because I can see a couple. One thing I was thinking at first was Ant-Man, because Tottenham's playing on the edge and a lot of tight spots.
Yeah.
When you think of big players, like who, if I say, hey, who are you going to pick as your like team? You're going to pick Hartle, Berkey, Leuven, Durkin. You're never going to pick Ant-Man, right? Like he's always kind of like the last, but he can also be pretty powerful too.
Yep. And I think that last segment. So we have his underdog mentality, slippery, thrives in tight spaces, and he's heavily underestimated.
I think Tots is definitely Ant-Man.
Yep. And I think it's because he got hurt a lot last year. And I think it's probably because of the guy who was in charge. His training was weird. And I think he's kind of been corrected. And Tots is always there. I think Tots is definitely underestimated. But I think that's good. I think that's great. Man, this has been a hoot. This has just been a hoot.
Man. Okay. So I think that was our last Marvel game. So if you've made it through this far, we always love to end with one of our favorite segments, which is called Goal or No Goal. So, Steve, let's take a look at some of our... Yeah.
So who do we want to kind of acknowledge for first before we do the Goal or No Goal?
Acknowledge first?
Yes. One of our favorite fans of all time. Listen, Amy. Man. Listen, this is for you, Amy. One of our OGs, if you will, giving our shout outs. We appreciate you. AJ is definitely not going to miss your name up. So AJ, who is this segment in honor of?
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Steve gets one fan and he's like over the moon. Thank you, Amy. Like, yeah. Okay. So our first Goal or No Goal. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So Alexander 221788. Man, that's a lot of numbers. Just call yourself Alexander.
Alex. Get over yourself. Jeez.
Yeah. If you suffer acutely from enough lack of strikeritis, all the possession and momentum in the world isn't enough. Goal or no goal?
If you suffer from no strikeritis, I don't know. I would say no goal because you know why? 8 weeks without a loss. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll take it. I would like to have a striker, but no. I think we're okay for now. What about you?
I still think we should have Matan as like the left wing slash whatever you want to call it, and then on the right we should have Hulsa, and then instead of a striker we should have a false 9 with Hartle. So screw the striker. That's what I'm thinking. I know it's kind of crazy, but I would rather have that than some like half-ass striker come in that's like on a crappy TAM deal, or another Cordova coming in for like a temporary fix. Just saying. All right, what do you got?
A trademark from Discord says, as much as it feels like we could have won this, after the last couple of years and the start of this season, I will never be upset sharing a point.
No, I'm going to say no goal, because what we learned last year, right, in particular, is draw after draw after draw gets you nowhere on the table.
Good.
So, because the thing is, right, like you can have 1 win and 2 losses, and that's just as good as 3 draws, right? But realistically, if in like, let's say 5 games, you get 2 wins and 3 losses, you got 6 points versus drawing every single game. It's only 5 points. You see what I'm saying? Like you're going to pull away. Like screw draws. I think what you need is wins. I think this was a disappointment. Like we said, this was a C or D today. And I think the players felt it too.
Yep. You know what? I will second that, because as soon as we get comfortable with draws, then we start accepting them again. You know what? A point is better than 0 points, but I don't think it's okay to go, whew, we can just keep doing this the rest of the season, because that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. We were in a very competitive division conference, and it's not going to work.
I absolutely agree. So I think this is something everybody's thinking right now. So Rip Aggressive 1521. Rip Aggressive. That sounds very like, I farted. But anyways, I know.
Aggressively.
So they said, yeah, I know, aggressively. I ripped one aggressively. Matan seems promising, he or she said. And then Trap in Suit, which is all over Reddit, on St. Louis City Reddit or MLS. I see this person everywhere. Said he is so fast on the crosses and passing while dribbling. Nice skill set we were missing. So the point here is do you think this is a skill set we were missing, or is this just augmenting the team?
Oh, I think it's a skill set we've been missing. This excitement, this ability to kind of carry the ball and pass it like that. I think for me, it's not just an augment; it's an actual, like, we're actually filling a gap. Yeah. So for me, that's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think. What about you?
So follow up for you. Okay. Captain Jingles, which is Matt Baker, by the way, on Reddit.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Captain Jingles.
Yeah, he said he's what a lot of the fan base thinks Celio was. Ooh, that's a spicy take. So he's saying that Matan is basically what we were dreaming that Celio was, but he actually wasn't.
I'm going to say no goal.
Ooh, you're going against the legendary Captain Jingles?
I am. Yeah, Jingle Meyer. Okay, because I don't think so. I think Celio is really good up the edges, and Celio has really good ball handling. I don't see Celio. I think they're complementary pieces. I think there's 2 different things. So for me, I don't see him as being one replacing, like, one not having the other. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to say no goal. What about you?
I'm going to say no goal just because one like 25-minute game session, it doesn't dictate how this player is going to be. What if this was just luck? What if this isn't where he is? Maybe he's better. Maybe he's worse. I'll give you an example. Toy Shirt, right? Toy Shirt came in with Hartle, and Toy Shirt and Simon Betcher too were lighting it up for a few games there. And we were so excited about Betcher and Toy Shirt. And what happened? Yeah, that happened. So I think it's way too soon to say, oh yeah, this is what CeeLo should have been. That's my thought. Respect to Captain Jingles, but still.
No respect. All right. No, he doesn't need that. I think he'd be fine. So I try, and I'm going to get back into it. So like I try to do a ref report each week so we can kind of get a feel about what the ref is going to be. And Chris Pinto was our ref this week. And I'm just going to say Kelly Franklin Mayer from the St. Louis City SC fan group on Facebook says, crappy referee today at the game. I've never seen a ref get hit by a ball so many times or ever in terrible calls and tons of missed foul calls. Goal or no goal?
Goal. I mean, I loved what the radio announcer said. They said it's obvious that City is playing up the middle because we do a lot of wing play, or we have. But whatever they decided in the coaching tactical decision making sessions, they decided that we were going to go straight up the midfield, and I love it. The ref, they said, should have adjusted and should have moved out of the way, but he didn't.
Yep. I was listening to the Apple announcers tonight, and what they said was when he got hit the first time, they're like, that should never have happened. He should have known to take a step back or not even move, because he could see that Durkin was progressing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did it again like 10 minutes later. And he made a lot of boneheaded calls tonight, or missed ones. And one thing that I saw on the ref report was that he calls a lot of fouls, but he only gives out like an average of like 2.5 to 3 yellows a game. And he gave 5 yellows in the first half. Like, he either thought he must have thought that this was some sort of a derby or something he had to take utter control of. It was just weird. But I don't think this was like however ref situation where he changed the utter outcome of the match. I don't think it's not that level.
Probably not. Okay. Well, the one thing I will say is there's a chance, because I don't remember this particular ref from other games, but even refs have bad games too, and it's tough.
I just sent you a shot of Berkey blocking that goal, and just how it looked from the side, and that's an amazing shot. That's really cool. If you guys need to see that, I'll try to post it when I post the episode. It's just an amazing shot. That's such a cool shot. Like, it needs like 1 or 2 more pixels, but it does a good job of like just the physicality that he had to demonstrate.
Well, Steve, I don't have any other goal or no goals. What about you?
I got one, and it's definitely an overreaction. So,
I love it.
Andrew Nope from the same Facebook group says, and he put this in bold, all caps. He says, so since put it in bold, I'm going to say, we are a real team now. I love Ray and DeMay. Goal or no goal?
I don't want to be overly optimistic, because fans, like 1 or 2 games, like just sways their minds quickly, right? Like, just because we saw the first transfer guy, which is Matan, have a good 25 minutes, I'm not ready to say, yeah, Ray has done a great job at bringing in players, and, the front office making this decision, right?
Yep.
I'm not ready to crown that yet. I do like what DeMay's done so far this year, because he's taken a crap team and has really made something out of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. And as far as a real team, the question, and this would be another fun topic that maybe we just won't do today, but the question is this just coincidence? Are we getting lucky, or is this actually a product of skill? I think the latter, but still.
Yeah. And I would pause on anyone giving praise and love to front office people, because let's not forget that Lutz made us believe he was a really good sporting director for like a year and a half. And it really wasn't until we started getting to like that 3rd or 4th transfer window, and then we went through a couple coaches that were like, maybe this guy is just vibes. So Ray has been in this position for this is now the 9th, like 11 months or 10 months, and not even a full season. And DeMay is also new to this position. So let's pump the brakes before we start crowning them the kings of the city. But it is good so far. We're still missing some pieces, but it's good so far.
I agree.
Winning helps everything, doesn't it? Winning just...
It does. It really does.
It's just such a good medicine, a good salve. I wish, like, it could be for everything. Like, oh, my arm hurts. Well, let's try a few wins on there, and all of a sudden your arm feels better. Like, that would be so much. It wouldn't be good for medical professionals, but it'd be good for people, I guess.
I'll take it.
Yep. All right. What do you think about this game overall? Good game, bad game?
I would say it's... because I love that we had like 70% possession,
Yeah.
but we had like 0% skill in essentially once we got to the box. So that last little bit of the final third up until Hartle came in. So the problem is I get nervous when your whole damn team hinges on one player, because what happens if they can't play for some reason, like earlier today? Then your whole team collapses. Nah, can't do that.
Was it this season Hartle missed a few games because of the birth of his daughter? Like, I think it was earlier this season. Like, what happens if another player that goes out and like all of a sudden we're back to square one again? So like, yeah, you're right. But
So side
it
note,
was a good.
Side note, a couple things. On Monday, they are voting on a new commissioner, which is interesting. That's a whole topic in itself.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of rumors that they're going to change the salary cap. And part of what they're looking at is they'll still have DPs, but they'll kind of change the salary cap so that you don't have to have like a lot of good player or a few good players and then a lot of crap players. What it looks like they're going to try to do is bring up some of the what you would consider like the Edelman, the McNaughton, like those kind of players, you know? So hopefully that way you're not depending just on 1, 2, 3 people.
Yeah. Good.
So
awesome.
Anyways.
All right. Let's stand in the middle of the field. Let's let Durkin be our Hulk, stand over the official that dared give him a yellow card. He's just an amazing person. He doesn't need a yellow card, you jerk. And then look around, get all dramatic, have some music playing in the background, and go, all for City, baby.